Hey folks, Adam Steele here, back with another episode of Adam Answers SEO. Today I'm going to talk about landing pages. Specifically, I'm going to talk about local landing pages. Now, this is a topic that I quite honestly could talk about for a very long time, so I'm going to try and keep it brief. No guarantees, of course. There is a lot of material online on local landing pages. Sometimes they're called doorway pages, which is kind of bad landing pages, or local landing pages that are done poorly are doorway pages. I like to think of mine as just local landing pages because they're done with a little bit more finesse. Starting at the beginning, when I'm putting together local landing pages, or rather maybe when I'm debating local landing pages, the first thing I'm thinking about is, can I afford to have them? And that doesn't mean can I afford to build them, can I afford to hire a copywriter, blah, blah, blah. It means, does my website have enough equity in it? And by that I mean link equity, or link authority, or domain authority, or whatever, to spread myself that much thinner. And maybe I'm talking out of my ass here, but the way I kind of look at it is, I kind of think of it as a pitcher of water. And, if I have 5 pages on my website, then that pitcher of water is roughly, a majority of it's going to be on the homepage, but a percentage of that total link authority or domain authority then gets, kind of pushed to each one of those pages. Add 5 more pages to that, and each of those existing 5 pages gets a little bit less link equity, or whatever you want to call it. So can my site afford to get spread that thin? Am I far enough along the process that I can, thin things out a little bit without, affecting my other pages or what have you, or stunting my further growth? And there's not a perfect way to answer that. Brand new site, I tend to keep it small and tight. Sites that are a little bit older, I can sort of afford. There's no number. There's not like, DA20, you can afford to do that, or anything like that. It also kind of depends on the client's patience. You're not going to, generally speaking, nothing's black and white. You're not going to be able to rank these things. If you have 10 local landing pages for all the communities around you, you're not going to be able to, to rank those kind of overnight. And the more you have, the slower it's going to go. So I'm looking at the client's patience. I'm looking at the client's budget. Every other page that I add to my website is a page that I potentially have to build links to. So do I have the link budget to afford that? So those are some of the sort of considerations I make. And then we get a little bit more detailed. How am I going to structure it? Am I structuring things where each of the Google My Business pages for each one of those, let's suppose they actually have locations in those areas, in those communities. Are each one of those Google My Business pages pointing to those local landing pages? I kind of have a cutoff. If it's 5 or less locations, I point everything to the home page, whether I have local landing pages or not. If there's more than 5 locations, then I point those locations at the local landing pages. And I don't really have a good reason for that, other than just being efficient, I guess. And maybe efficient isn't the right word, but just the homepage has the majority of the authority, right? And your best bet at ranking something quickly, or in the near future, is often to leverage that inherent authority that the domain has, that the homepage has. So I guess it's just easier. It's just easier to use that homepage for those 5 locations, and I can throw those 5 locations in the footer, or those 5 locations in the sidebar, the NAP, without it looking too stupid. Anything more than that, and it starts to look dumb. So I guess that's part of my reasoning as well. Now, as far as the construction of said local landing pages, yeah, I'm not going to get too much into that because that can take forever. There are lots of resources for that. I've got some. Other people have some. Notably, Matt Hunt of previously Small Business Online Coach. Now, I think he moved the resource to poweredbysearch.com, but he had a tremendous, it was one of the first of its kind. I loved it. And I don't remember what it looks like now, but I remember it being like just fantastic. And I'm sure it still very much applies. Niftymarketing.com. I want to say it was either Ryan or it was Mike, or I can't remember who put it together, but there is at least one resource on their website, and I think they've touched on local landing pages before. On our website, Loganics.net, there is a couple local landing page resources as well that are pretty nifty. MagistrateInc.com, I think we've got a couple on there too. So there is lots. There's tons. Oh, and I think there's a really good one on Moz. I think it was put together by Miriam Ellis. Don't quote me on that. I can't remember. But really, really good stuff. So I'll just give you a brief summary of what I like. First, I like to make the URL nice and specific. But it kind of depends on the homepage or the domain itself. Like if the domain itself is like somethingcleaning.com, then obviously my URLs are not going to be like cleaning-Vancouver, cleaning-Richmond, right? Because cleaning's already there. I don't need to do that again. It just kind of comes off spammy. So in that case, I'd probably have something like residential-Vancouver, or just Vancouver, right? I don't need to get too detailed. I don't need to get too spammy. I am capable enough to not have to do that crap. But, if it's just a brand name, like, I don't know, Magistrate, there's an example, right? It has nothing to do with what we do, right? What my company does. So in that case, I would probably have / SEO-PPC-Vancouver, something like that. I'm actually stealing that URL from somebody else. I know a pal of mine who's got his URLs set up that way. But that's how I would set up the URLs anyways, and I would be sort of cautious about being too spammy for the reason that, I do enough stuff that sort of puts me on edge that I don't need something that isn't going to have tremendous reward making me look over my shoulder even more than I already am. So, and then you get into the page construction itself. I'm not going to go into what makes a good landing page conversion-wise. Again, lots of good resources on that, Unbounce, Conversion XL, etc., etc. But I like to make sure my NAP is on there, of course. And again, this is going to kind of depend on how I've set up my Google My Business pages and how I've structured all that. But, some reviews local to that area, content, of course, local to that area, some resources local to that area. I get pretty detailed because, like, sometimes you're writing the same shit over and over and over again. Like, you need some bloody variety. And writing about plumbing 20 times, you almost can't help but be duplicate. You almost can't help but, add some duplicate stuff. Because how do you say the same thing 20 times, right? So we add some variety by adding resources, by adding local reviews from people who are local to that area, people you serviced in that area. What else comes to mind? Some of my favorite things. Pictures local to that area. I mean, you're not really fooling anybody, but I like to make it so, like, when somebody comes into my client's website, they kind of feel like, okay, this person knows my area. They specialize in my area. If I'm a realtor, then I am, making sure that there are houses for sale in that area on that page. For example, I am localizing that page as much as humanly possible, putting a map on there, putting some pictures of the area that are known in the area, a monument that is in the area or something like that, a park that everybody from that area would know. I'm talking about, I want people to get the idea that if I'm a realtor, I have been in every house in the area. I have sold at least every house. I've sold a house once. I've sold every house at least once in the area. I go to church in the area. My kids go to school in the area. I mean, yes, that's probably not true, but that's kind of the sense I want to give. I want to give the sense that I specialize in that area, right? So, as far as the copy is concerned, I lean towards trying to make it sound a little bit like that without deliberately saying that is true. So I don't want to lie, obviously. And then just basic optimization. Again, there are lots of resources for that. I don't need to get into that. So I think that kind of sums it up. 500 words, 600 words. I mean, if I can go on longer than that without making it looking total crap, I will. I recently saw somebody, powered by search actually, .com/enterprise-SEO, something like that. So they put together a page on their website, and they had their normal service copy, and then they put the resource to enterprise SEO below it. The thing is it's bloody 8,000 words long, right? But it fits. It looks good. It reads good, and it shows their expertise in the area. It's brilliant. I don't know why I never really thought about doing that, but you could do that, right? I mean, that's probably a little bit extravagant, especially if you're doing 20 of these, but you get my idea, or rather, their idea. So hopefully that helps. I do hope. And like I said, there's lots of resources for this, both on the optimization side, the conversion side, all kinds of stuff. So check out those resources. I may or may not link to them. We'll see how much time I have. But let me know if you have any questions. I've built these for years. They work amazing. We've generated so many leads with these things. So, and just a final note, Google has come out, I believe, and spoken on these. They've called them doorway pages, so I would do a little bit of research on that just to make sure that you're not, having to look over your shoulder. Thank you guys. I do appreciate your attention. I hope, as always, that I've brought just a little bit of value. If you have any questions, you know where to leave them. And if you're on YouTube, subscribe. And if you're on Facebook, like the page. Thanks, guys. Have a wonderful day.